Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trade Ideas Live Trading Room recap for Wednesday, the first day of March, March the 1st. And boy, what a day. Market is just absolutely ripping today. Um, let's get right to it here. You know what? Before I was going to talk about the low trade, I want to talk about a couple of trades. Um, you've heard me talk about earnings and why I would never hold a stock over earnings. One of the things is that if you were in the room before, you know that I took this one at 136. This is Palo Alto, and I wrote it all the way up. I sold most of it up in this area here. But for the longest time, I said, but I will not hold this over earnings. I will not hold this over earnings. So let's take a look at the 15-minute chart here. So earnings were released yesterday after hours, and look what happened. Just an absolute collapse. That would have really, really hurt me. When I say hurt me, hurt my feelings because if I'd had that stock and didn't really trade it out and decided just to, hold it through earnings, look how many days I held this. For me, anyway, that's a long, long trade. So this would have really, really upset me had I held through earnings and it would have gapped down right below my price. All right, so there's one. Now, on the flip side, Dan Merkin, our CEO, came in to the room yesterday and indicated that he was going to take a long on Weight Watchers with earnings. Okay. Now, I'm not saying, now, in this particular case, it worked. And one of his rationales was that the Weight Watchers short float was 82%. And so, he said, my risk, he could afford to lose whatever he was putting into it. Not that he's going to go down to zero, but, here's where it closed yesterday. Now, and this one worked. Still for me, I don't hold stocks over earnings no matter what I see, short float, whatever. But, Dan did explain it, and he explained it in the room why he did it, and that's cool. But for me, this is the chart that I will remember. Okay, I'm printing this one out, and I will say, okay, this is the reason I do not take earnings or hold a stock through earnings. I am in this one right now, by the way, this DIN. This has had just a complete collapse. CFO left today, and it's an earnings play. I'm in at 52.82 on a short, so I just have to keep an eye on it. I'm going to get out if it gets back over to 53, so I just have to keep an eye on it. Now, let's take a look at Low. Low was an earnings play. Low had earnings this morning. Look at that massive gap up. Decided to play it with the market being so strong. 81.75 I got in. 81.75 right about here. Right about here on this candle, and this was pretty whippy. Waited for this whip to and then look what happened. Way up to 82, 82. I would love to say if that's where at the top, but almost. Got out some at 82.50, 82.76 for just over $1 on that, and then as it fell down, basically flat on the last part. So turned out to be a great early trade, kind of set the tone for me. Couple other trades. Unfortunately, I took a break. I went downstairs get some water. I was in this Infi at it was a Holly trade. I got in at 308 right here. Put a mark on that. 308 right here. And then it did this, and this is right when I would have definitely taken some out. As it turns out, I took a small loss on it before it went down through 3. And now it's starting to come back. This is one that I may, depending on how it's pretty whippy. I don't like it like this, but it depends how it closes out for the day, because just take a look at the daily chart. This is what you really want to see. Look at that void. Just look left. There's really nothing to stop it if it wants to go up. So that is something that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, depending how it closes today. Okay. What else? LGIH was another Holly trade. Very modest. Get to the 15-minute. Yeah, the alert was, see, where was it? At 30.20. Well, I got in at 30.22, right up here. Had to withstand, it's close enough. Right about here. Had to withstand some froth. Was able to get out some on that pop, and then I got out the rest just for a marginal gain. So this was a little too up and down for me. So and obviously down. So I'm glad I took what little profit I could out of this one. Edison was a pretty decent trade, and I think that actually it is starting to come back. Yeah. This was a Holly alert right around here, but I waited for the break. I waited for this break right here. Make sure I've got that right, Edison. Yeah, I got in at 76.45. So you see, I was waiting for the break of that high right there, and I got in right here, 76.45. Oops, put the mark. So 76.45, once it took that area out, 76.45, and basically rode it nicely up here. And, a pretty easy trade. I mean, a little bit topsy-turvy right here. Finally get a red candle. I got out at 71.60, 71.75, and just under 70, I think just over 76.80. I did about a 10-cent stop on it. So that made the risk reward pretty good. In fact, I was saying if I could get out at 76.84, 76. Sorry about that. What was that again? 76.85. That would have been a 4-to-1 risk reward. So anyway, it turned into a pretty decent stress-free trade. That's the best I can call it. And that is there's another Holly trade that I took. That's right, CHRS. Got out of this one a little bit too frothy. Got in it right around here at 24.20, 25 actually, and took myself out as it broke down through 24.20. I got out at 24.15 for a 10-cent loss. I wasn't anticipating this was going to happen, but you look at the daily. I thought that this might be an area that it was going to have a tough time to get through regardless. So you see it got up to 24.32. This is 24.45. I do have an alert. Actually, the alert should be right there. I do have an alert set. So if tomorrow, I know the other thing I noticed is that this would be, the third day continuation. Sometimes, that used to be the old rule, third day continuation. Maybe within the third day, watch for some kind of a pullback. That used to be the old rule of thumb. At any rate, what I'm going to do is I've put the alert here in case it does pop. Not necessarily today, but if it rests a little bit and then it pops through, then it has a beautiful another void, $2 or $3 void on top of that. So that is what I'm going to be looking at. All right, so DIN is still hanging right where I shorted it, 52.81. Well, maybe it's just going to drop now. Again, this has just been a disaster. From 66 down to 60 that day, but from up here too, it's just been a steady decline. Earnings today, plus the CFO left, so that is the impetus for all this. All right, let me just close out this chart. Again, this is how to get into our room. It is a free room, and it is a free room. No strings attached. You don't have to give us a credit card or anything. There is a sign-up procedure. You give us your email. We send you back the email. You create a password all at one time, and that's it. And then you get into the room. It's a free room. I share my screen all day long, and I get live on the mic between 9 a.m. and up to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, depending on what happens. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, though, what I do is I start going over stocks that I think might have some interesting setups for the following day, for the next day. Go over a couple of windows that I use for that. I do that between 3 and 3:30, and I'll go beyond, depending on how many questions I do get. All right, well, thanks very much for listening, and I hope to see you in our trading room tomorrow. Bye-bye.